This is our third practice session. In this session we're going to look at ledgers. So this is a ledger that you might have set up for your own particular cash accounting for your everyday account. I've set out the columns like this with the item or the name of the transaction, the details of the transaction, a date. I could have those columns around the other way actually, but that's fine. The balance is on the end. We can call that a running balance. And the first column of the numbers, we'd have the balance forward from the previous line, the previous entry. In the middle, we've got your debit on the left and the credit on the right. These columns here, I could have entered the debits as a negative number. In this case, I've just entered them as positive. So this running balance is the balance forward, subtracting any debits plus any credits. That's what those entries, cell references there do. If of course if I had a habit of entering my debits as negatives, I could have just added them all together. So we can maybe, if we have time, we can look at both options. The other ledger I've got here is just a dedicated savings account with no withdrawals, no ordinary entries. So here in this scenario, I've got a balance of $10,000 on the 1st of February. I suppose I could have put I suppose I could have made that a deposit entry in there, and after 1 year it's earned $700 in interest using that 7% there. So there's a $10,000 balance from that date, 1st of January 2015 to the 1st of January 2016, time period of 1 year. So my interest is simply the balance multiplied by the interest rate. Making things a little bit more complex, I could have found the difference between these two dates as the time period and multiply that by the interest rate, that formula being PRT, time being in years. So as long as I calculated that in years, then I would have the correct amount. We might try that too when we do our Prac now. So let's get started. Start a new sheet. We'll just call it ledger. Increase the size there a bit. So we could have the date first and then particulars, or other way around. I might try the date first this time. Now we can have the item, transaction, or particulars. I use this is sometimes used, item particulars. I can widen that if you like. And you might be interested to know that you can wrap text in a cell like that. Depending on how wide your ribbon is up there, it's sometimes is an option up here. So can't really see it there now, but sometimes you can see the wrap text as an option up there. And also I might just format all these while I'm here as well. So center those vertically and horizontally. So we want the balance forward, we want debit, credit, and the balance. So this balance is like just a running balance here. So we can make up some entries here. Let's just say 1 of 1. What's going on here? Let's try that again. 1 of 1, say 2015. We'll just say deposit. Let's put in $2,000. Alright, now this balance, we might as well start the calculations now. If we're going to just have a policy of putting the debits in there as a positive number, we're going to need to add the balance forward, we're going to have to subtract the debits, and we're going to have to add the credits, and that'll give us our balance. Now, if you wanted to format these as if you want to format those as numbers, you can, just like so. Sorry, format them as dollars, just like that. That's with no decimals, with decimals. It's up to you. I might just right justify this column. It fits in. I just like the way that gets closer to the numbers there. Alright, so we'll just put that balance forward there of 0. So we're going to start the next line. The balance forward is going to be the last balance from the previous line. Alright, so 1st of January, let's say the 20th of January 2015, got a, let's say, withdrawal. You know, you could make up whatever it was for, let's say $1,000, and all we need to do is just copy this formula down. Another entry, say 1st of February 2015, let's say various, so we'll have a deposit and a withdrawal. The balance forward, if I just copy this down here, all I'm doing is Control C and Control V, but you can also select your rectangles, select your range and pull it down like so. So if I put in a withdrawal of 500, a deposit of 900, this particular debit there, the computer's just tried to second guess what we're doing, thought it was going to increment by 1. So that's the basis of it. I haven't got a net, just make up an entry for this one. So that's your basic ledger there. It's just addition and subtraction, bringing the balance forward from the previous line. Let's have a look at the next ledger now, where we're looking at an interest-only situation, an interest-dedicated savings account where we have interest added, possibly the only item. So, if you like, why don't I copy down those first 2 lines there. I just did Control C there. Just Control Z. I'll take it down 1 more line, and I'll put here dedicated savings account. Let's say that. Okay. So item particulars, it's going to be mainly interest. We're here, we've got a balance forward, a debit, a credit, so the main credits will be interest. So let's just put here, we've got a deposit, let's make that a bit bigger, let's make it 10,000. For this example, I'm going to take out the decimal points because we're just going to deal with bigger rounded numbers here. Okay, so we've got a deposit there on the 1st of January 2015. So let's make this one the 2nd of January 2016. And let's just make this interest. Now, what you saw in the example I gave you at the start, where I put an interest rate, if we look over here, I put an interest rate here. It might be better if I put the interest rate over here, then I can just keep this in the same columns as the previous ledger. Interest rate, just wrap that. Now, it's good practice to simply enter your interest rate as a decimal. I encourage you to get into that habit. Let's take an interest rate of 6%, say. It's probably a bit on the high side in today's market. 6%, and I'm going to have that copied down so I can change it from year to year. I'll format it just by pressing the percent sign there. That hasn't changed the number, it's just changed its presentation. It's still 0.06. If I wanted to change it back to a number, I'd have to go in here to the format for a number, up here, select the number there, 2 decimal places, and there it is there. Control Z that. Okay, so the interest rate, what we're looking at here, we've got the balance forward from the 1st of January. That was deposited $10,000. Let's say exactly 1 year after that deposit, we'll get an interest rate, an interest deposit. So because it's only 1 year, it's just simply going to be that balance multiplied by your interest rate. PRT, in this case T is 1. So there's your principal, 10,000. There's your R, 6% or 0.06, and the time is 1. And again, we can do the same thing. Let's see what happens if I just drag that down. It might increment the date as well. Well, an increment of the date, but only by a day. So let's change that to, yeah. Okay, let's make it 2017. Let's go up to this one and let's change that to 1st of January. What I'm doing to go into and enter, by the way, I'm pressing F2 to enter the cell, but I could click up here and do my edits up there as well. Alright, F2 is just one of the quick ways of accessing the contents of the cell. Don't forget your escape button if you've entered something wrongly. That will get you out of the cell that you're in. So the interest here, we've got a balance for 10,600 from 2016. We've got the same, something's happened, it's incremented the interest rate. I didn't want it to do that, so let's just change that back to 0.06. So there we have. Now we've got the interest, the balance coming forward from the previous year's 10,600, interest rate at 6%, giving us an interest of 636 and a balance of there. Again, if you wanted to see these figures to the decimal point, the quick way is to go up to there. As you can see, there's no cents in that one anyway. All right, that's your ledgers, the basics of it. I haven't put any borders in. Obviously, that would be good if I was going to print it out. I'll just show you one more scenario. Let's take something a little bit more complicated. Let's say I'm going to close the account. I'll copy this down, Control C and Control V. Let's say I'm going to close the account on the 1st of let's say the 1st of July 2017. Now, in the event of closing the account, the bank might well pay me for the interest on those months up to that time of withdrawal. Let's leave it at 6% there. So in my formula, I really need the time factor. I've got the principal. That's my C13. That's the balance here for the last time after the last entry. The G13 is my rate. Now the time, I want it in years, so I'm going to have to find the difference between these dates, but that will give me a number of days. So if it's in days, to get the years, I'm going to have to divide by 365. So let's see how we go with this. So I'm going to multiply that by the difference between these two dates divided by 365. Now we've got $334. Now, if I've done this correctly, apart from leap years, will there be a minor effect? Was 26? No, there's no leap years between 2015 and 2016, but there would be an effect going from 2016 to 2017. So there might be a slight change here, but I'm going to see what happens if I copy this formula for interest up to here, see if it has any effect at all. Just copy it from these two previous ones, and it looked like that number there, because of the leap year effect, it's gone up a fraction, because I'm dividing by 365, remember, not, let's see, so that's 74 cents, 637.74, let me just, and it was 636. So that extra day, what's happened is I really needed to probably divide by 366 in that particular case. Okay, but that's a minor detail. So the effect here is that the scenario here is I've closed the account, let's say, and I wanted to get, the bank is going to pay me for that interest from that last interest payment there on the 1st of January 2017 up until the 1st of July 2017, approximately 6 months, which actually would expect is going to be roughly half of what the previous interest payment was. The balance for that period was 11,236. I'll leave it at that. You have a go at that and push on with that assignment.
Big shout to all those in assignment land. Keep it up, guys.